Welcome to another episode of Your Voice. I'm John Balser, your voice for the NRV and surrounding areas. On today's episode, we have Susan Mattingly, Executive Director of the Lyric Theater, one of the oldest movie houses in Virginia and the heart of Blacksburg. So as you can see, we're at a brand new place today filming today's episode. We are at the historic Lyric Theater in downtown Blacksburg. This place is absolutely gorgeous, and we have with us today Susan Mattingly, the Executive Director of the Lyric. Thank you so much for letting us film at this beautiful place.
It's our pleasure. We're always happy to share the Lyric with new folks.
It's great. I used to be a voice performance major in college there for a while, and it brings back a lot of memories, being on this stage and just being here. It's an amazing place, so thank you so much. So before we get into everything that the Lyric does, because there's so many events and things that you guys hold, tell us a little bit about you and what you do outside of work.
Well, I'm not a native of Blacksburg. I came here the way a lot of folks do, as a student at Virginia Tech.
Okay.
I came from Northern Virginia. I had actually been born in New Mexico and went to high school in Northern Virginia, came here as a Hokie, graduated, returned to Northern Virginia in DC, and then married another Hokie. And then after 8 years, we decided that we wanted to leave DC and move down to Blacksburg and raise our family here. And so that's how I got here.
That's fantastic.
And what we wanted to do was to get involved in the community and really put our roots down. And so I had a lot of opportunity to get involved in the community. And when the job at the Lyric came available, somebody encouraged me to apply, and here I am, almost 20 years later.
That's amazing. It's an amazing story. You've done so much just from my short time here in this community. The Lyric means so much to a lot of people, and I continue to see its growth and its impact. And I know you yourself do quite a bit and try to stay involved as much as possible. So we really appreciate everything that you do for the community personally, but also everything that you do through the Lyric. I know that the community itself truly appreciates everything. So it's great.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah, I'm sure. So tell us a little bit about your exact role. You have the title of Executive Director. What does a typical day look like for you? And go ahead and give us a little bit of history about the theater itself and what all is involved in running this beautiful place.
Well, my job as executive director is really just to oversee everything.
Sure.
We have a lot of great staff, and we have a lot of great volunteers. We actually have about 250 active volunteers.
Oh, wow.
So we really couldn't do what we do without them. We have a great general manager, James Arthur.
He's great.
He takes care of all of the technical needs of the theater, and we have house managers who are there every night of the week. A lot of people don't realize we're open 364 days a year. So we're open all the time. We have daytime programs. Things are happening here all the time. We actually serve about 50,000 people a year. Some people have no idea that much goes on at the Lyric. So I just sort of oversee all the things.
Sure.
And just make sure everything's moving right. Because we do so many things, it's really hard to say there's a typical day.
Absolutely.
I typically try to stay on top of new and interesting films that are coming out. I'm in correspondence with our production manager about potential artists who may perform at the Lyric, developing strategies for marketing and getting the word out there that what we're putting on.
It's a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
It's a whole lot.
A lot of little things.
A lot of little things, and definitely you can see the effort that everyone puts in, from the volunteers to James to you to your house managers. You can see when you come to an event here, you can tell that they really care about what they're doing, and you guys, it seems like you put a lot of time and thought into who comes here. I always think of the Lyric as a place where things can be a little different. You're not always going to see the same old that a lot of theaters and larger towns show. You bring in different acts and new artists and new ideas and fresh ideas. And I like that about the Lyric because it gives so many people options in the community. It touches all sorts of different people. And I think I want to kind of lead into my next question. What about this community do you think helps make the Lyric so successful?
I think Blacksburg is a uniquely friendly place. Right? Maybe I shouldn't say uniquely, because there are a lot of friendly communities out there, but it's a very friendly place, and it has many of the advantages of a small town. But being a college town, it has a highly educated population who are pretty engaged in cultural offerings. They know what's happening in New York and Los Angeles, and they know they're not going to exactly get it here, but they want a slice of it. Yeah. So we have sort of the best of the small world, small town world, but then we also have this, highly educated and literate population.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a unique mix.
And it's definitely, that's one thing that's growing here, is that there's going to be more people that are going to start coming from out of towns because the town's growing so much. There's so many jobs coming in, so many different things coming. So it really gives you guys, you're already at the forefront of feeding those needs of those type of people. So it's just great for the theater and for the community already. So everyone's excited about it. So.
We do try.
Absolutely. So if you had to describe the history of this theater, what do you think, just a few points, what sticks out to you personally about such an amazing place? Because you can talk to a lot of different people, and some people say certain things or one or two things they really love about it, but to you personally, what is it about this place that makes it special?
Well, it is an authentically Blacksburg space.
Okay.
This is not the first Lyric Theater in Blacksburg. The growth of the Lyric, and we like to say it's the heart of Blacksburg, it reflects the community in general. So the first Lyric Theater opened in 1909 as a small silent movie house up on North Main Street. Mm-hmm. And this was when silent houses had just come out. The enrollment at Virginia Tech was a mere 600 students.
Lots
and
of change.
As films began to become popular, the Lyric moved 3 times until it landed here in 1930. So, of course, the Lyric was built as a segregated theater, as all theaters were in the South in the 30s. And a lot of people believe that the balcony was the segregated seating area, but it was far worse than that. If you look at old pictures of the theater, you can see that everybody bought their tickets out in a ticket booth on the street. Well, the African American patrons had to use what is now our fire exit, the balcony's fire exit. They weren't allowed to come into the lobby of the theater. They bought their tickets on the street, and they had to come up the back stairway. There was one shared toilet and sink for both men and women to use in that back hallway. And to make it matters even worse, if it were a very popular film and they expected the white patrons to sell it out, you might come with your date to go to the movies at the Lyric, but you'd have to wait to buy your ticket until all the white patrons had bought their tickets, because they would sell even the segregated seats to them before they would sell them to our African American citizens. So that's an important piece of our history that we think it's important to remember and to acknowledge that
Absolutely.
Is part of our history.
Yeah, and so many people today don't realize it wasn't that long ago that segregation was still here.
1964 is when the Lyric ceased to be segregated, and that was my lifetime.
The community here, we are in the South, and things have changed so much, and the way the world is today, I think it's important to talk about it. I think it's important to talk about the change that's happened. I think it's important to show that, yes, this once was that way, but it's no longer that way, and this is a place of community for everyone, and of all types of different cultures. And I think you show that in the artists that you bring here and the performers, and I think that's just one other thing that makes this place so special.
When the Lyric opened in 1930, it was only the 3rd theater in the state of Virginia built for talking pictures. Now, if you think about Blacksburg in 1930, this was hardcore Appalachia. There's no interstate highway system. Virginia Tech is not a large research institution. It is a small agricultural mechanical college. Mm-hmm. And yet they were at the vanguard. And this was the community gathering place and a source of real civic pride for a long time. And it thrived as an independent theater for 50 years until, with the advent of home video and the multiplex model, drove a lot of small independent theaters out of business. And so Blacksburg was not unique. It just reflected the growth of the community. Sure. But then in the 90s, a group of citizens came together, raised the money, and established the not-for-profit that now runs the theater. And so that's sort of the evolution of the Lyric, is really the evolution of an engaged community.
That's fantastic. That just shows how involved the community is here and how they want to make sure that, staples within the community, they want to make sure that they stay here. And they want to make sure that they keep the authenticity of it as well. And I love that about this place. So we're going to change pace a little bit. We're going to do a couple of quick fire questions.
Okay.
I didn't tell you these ahead of time because I want to get your first response. And if you have to take a second to answer, that's perfectly fine. When you think of the word success, who or what comes to mind?
Actually, my mentor, the founding board member of the Lyric Theater.
Okay. Why?
because she impacted the community in ways few people have. She was a founding, she put the community's needs as her first priority. She founded our local community foundation. She was active in the NAACP. She founded the Lyric. Was involved, she passed away a couple of years ago, but was involved in many of the institutions that make the Lyric a great place. Make the Blacksburg a great place. Her name was Lindsay West.
Okay.
And she was successful in building community.
That's fantastic. We should all strive to be like her.
Yeah. You'd have a hard time finding people who did not hold her in high esteem.
That's good.
And that's success.
If you could write anything on a billboard, what would it say or what would it look like? It doesn't have to be words. What would your billboard look like?
I think if I could have a billboard, it would just be for downtown Blacksburg full of people. Just a vibrant photograph of a vibrant community.
Okay. Just the picture itself and
right.
Have the Lyric on there a little bit
Of
too.
course.
Of course, right?
Well, if you Google Blacksburg and hit images, you'll get a lot of Lyric pictures.
You will.
It's
and
it's an iconic
everything that you
location.
get, there's paintings of the town everywhere. There's, even of pictures of like the local pubs. The Lyric is still on there.
Yeah.
And there's drawings of everything, and it always features the Lyric.
Yeah.
It's never ever left off.
It's an iconic building in this town.
That's fantastic. So if you wanted to let anybody know how to get a hold of you, or if there is a particular way you would like people to reach out to the Lyric or find more information about the Lyric, how would you like them to do that?
Well, we've got a great webpage.
Okay.
Built by a volunteer, I will say.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's just www.thelyric. You have to put the THE in front, thelyric.com.
All right.
There's a lot of Lyric theaters around the world, and if you just search Lyric Theater, we won't come up first, but if you put the THE first, we will.
Yeah, I've been to the website. It's a great site. It's built well. It flows well. Gives all the information. It's a fantastic site, and your volunteer did a great job.
Yeah, she sure did.
Well, thank you so much, and I really appreciate your time, and we really appreciate you letting us use this space. We couldn't have asked for a better place to film today. So thank you so much.